All right, Nate, go live on video, stand by for audio. All right, good day and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Live the Fuel show. So this evening, yes, we have another new co-host for you, a new two-way conversation happening, open format as we always do. But this evening, this gentleman comes from that wonderful young lady by the name of Courtney, who's just a powerful person on connecting podcasts with amazing co-hosts. And I'm excited because this guy's going to be an amazing co-host for you, because this gentleman's coming to us as a speaker, an author, a coach. He's a natural leader. And as I hinted, as an author, he's a best-selling author. He's a renowned coach. And he's a speaker who knows how to impact and reach an audience. This is important. Not all speakers know how to do this. He's the lead trainer and lead coach inside of the Prosperity Revolution. And I'm going to show off some of the sites today too on the video feed for some of you podcast listeners out there. Reminder, all this stuff goes to YouTube. But let's dig into this here. He's built multiple successful businesses in the areas of insurance, real estate. He recently fulfilled his long-term dream of selling his insurance agency to become a full-time coach. And quick background on this guy. He was a lieutenant serving our country in the United States Army. He was a platoon leader during Operation Iraqi Freedom. He was charged with the safety and leadership of 42 soldiers as they served our country in Kuwait. So I respect this. This is awesome. I'm really excited about this guy today. And his simple philosophy on life is live what you teach. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Nate Bailey.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Very nice intro. I'm excited to be here on your show. Yeah. So thank you.
So you've been around the block, my friend. I mean, Iraqi Freedom, like that was legit. How long ago is that now? Because you completed that tour. What year was that?
Yeah, so I received my orders that I was going to be deployed in 2005. Mm-hmm. And they sent us to Camp Shelby, Mississippi for 3 months to train, to get ready to go to Kuwait. And that's right when Hurricane Katrina hit. And being a northern Wisconsin boy, growing up in a small town, I had never experienced a hurricane other than on the news channel. And so I got to witness one of the big ones. They locked us in our barracks for 3 days. Literally, we just sat there while this hurricane came through, and so experienced that. And then, we got deployed. We got sent to Kuwait. I think we arrived November of 2005, and we were there for a year. So we came home, November of 2006.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, obviously, because let's be real, it was war. Did your entire platoon make it home?
Yeah, we did. So
awesome.
We were in Kuwait, and it was pretty quiet in Kuwait. So It was, we didn't see any battle per se. Like I said, it was very safe. We were very close to Iraq, obviously, 5 miles away. Yeah. But yeah, we didn't, we were there doing camp security. There's probably 6 or 7 different bases in Kuwait at the time. And so our battalion there was a company kind of at each one, and we were doing camp security, running the checkpoints, the entrance points in and out, searching vehicles and checking IDs to make sure everybody was coming in that was supposed to come in, and not letting anyone in that wasn't supposed to come in. So that was kind of our job there for a year. And so that's what we were doing out over in Kuwait.
So were you, I guess, obviously that sounds like mostly like peacekeeping forces, right? Like you guys were there to, once they've ironed out the big wrinkles, you're there to keep the wrinkles ironed out.
Yeah. Most of the units, that go to Iraq, they come in through Kuwait, I would say. And there's a lot of convoys and supplies that would come in through Kuwait into Iraq. Mm-hmm. And so that's what most of the bases there were for in Kuwait, to kind of support units coming in and out of Iraq. So some were coming in or coming out and getting ready to go home, and they would just be kind of resting R&R for a few weeks before they headed home and things like that. There's an air base in Kuwait. And really just kind of support.
Wow. And when did you got back, or actually even before you left, were you guys assigned with any of the Katrina type of assignments? Because I know there was just countless work that had to be done, obviously related to that too.
Yeah, when we finally were able to come out of our barracks, once the hurricane had gone through and or had finished, it was crazy to see how much damage had been done. And then there was a lot of people from New Orleans that were coming into Camp Shelby. FEMA had camps set up all over throughout Camp Shelby where they were forced out of their homes, and that was one of the places where they were coming to find some shelter and safety. And we didn't help really much with the cleanup just because we were already on a mission to go to Kuwait. We helped for a day or two to help clean up around base. But that was really about it. And so they brought a bunch of other units from other National Guard units from across the country in to help actually support Katrina.
Well, I mean, so obviously that builds a nice foundation for you. So obviously years since, now you've morphed yourself into an author, speaker, and coach. So what made you take that route? Because obviously per your bio and your background, you got into the insurance and the real estate business. And when that's done right, you can financially do well if you know what you're doing. But clearly, and you sold the agency. So let's connect the dots on that for everybody listening in.
Yeah, I think, deep down, I am now doing what I always kind of felt called to do from a very young age. I don't know, you probably remember being in school and you'd have speakers come to your school, and it was kind of a awesome time where you got out of class, you go to the auditorium, you listen to these people that you don't know, tell their story and be, motivational speakers and things like that. And I just remember thinking, I can clearly remember each and every one of them that had come through the time I was in, K through 12. And just remembering how cool that was, that there were people that literally just traveled the country and went and spoke and motivated and inspired these kids inside of these schools. And I just remember, thinking to myself that would be something pretty cool to do. And then, life happens. I was always drawn towards leadership. I was an officer, as you said, a lieutenant, platoon leader in the Army. I've been a coach. I've coached high school, I've coached grade school, I've coached college football. So I've always been a coach or a leader, throughout the different organizations and associations in my profession. When I was in insurance, I was in leadership roles, president of our, insurance association. And so I've always been drawn to be a leader, a coach, a trainer, a speaker. I've always, I've read Zig Ziglar and John Maxwell and Tony Robbins and all of them.
Yeah, we all got libraries.
All those guys, and always been inspired, and always have said, really in the back of my mind, that is someday what I would do. And I just, I don't know how that works, how that happens, right? I mean, I don't think there's any real true roadmap to all right, do this, this, and this, and then you'll one day become Tony Robbins. And so I've just fell into that path. It's always been in front of my mind. I've always, like I said, been drawn to the leadership roles and to speaking and getting in front of groups and inspiring and teaching and training. And I think all of those combined through time have kind of led me to what I do now and the opportunity that I've had. And, what really catapulted me towards this opportunity that I have inside of being a lead trainer and lead coach inside of the Prosperity Revolution, MANWEALTH and Shield Maiden are some of the programs that we have. Was, I was a point in my life where I wasn't happy with what was going on. I knew that there had to be more, right?
Yeah.
Married with kids. At the time, I owned a CrossFit gym. I had a full-time insurance agency. Yeah. So CrossFit gym, insurance agency, I still own, multiple investment properties across the country. And, but at some point along the way, I kind of lost my way. I was working way too much, not spending a lot of time with my wife and my kids, using the excuse of what I did running my businesses as a reason for why I couldn't be home and they should understand, and kind of lost track of my health there for a while, got close to 300 pounds, to the point where I was literally out of breath at one point, bending over to tie my shoes. And
I got to stop screen sharing here for a second. Oh, man. we got to pause on this. I'm a CFL one coach as well. So
Okay.
I found CrossFit thanks to the firefighting lifestyle back in 2010. I didn't even know what the hell it was. Like I showed up on base, like, all right, we're doing 2 WODs a day for the next 14 days straight, no days off. This is kind of like basic training. You know, we got to see where you're at. And I'm like, what's a WOD?
Yeah.
What's CrossFit? And yeah, after like the first day, I found out real fast. But
yeah,
you know, I love the fact you're so transparent about weight gain, lifestyle impact here, and that's why I wanted to pause on this because this is real, man. Like I see this so often with former military, like getting right out of the military. But if you had to trace it back, did it start there? Because I've talked to a lot of former military guys and ladies, and I find this is a common thread, whether it be firefighting, police, military, you have a very structurized program you follow. It's very focused, it's very dedicated. And then when that ends, a lot of people struggle to, I guess, orchestrate their life. And do you think that the weight gain stuff happened there, or did it happen when you started, honestly, like I've done in the corporate space years ago, like start chasing the dollar? And as you hinted, the family becomes secondary, the finances come first, and you start losing your way. Like, where do you think it started happening?
Yeah, well, it definitely happened after deployment. I would say, you know, I was in the Wisconsin Army National Guard. So
okay.
Before deployment, I was, you know, kind of headed down that path, was definitely overweight and was spending a lot of time inside my business. Didn't have kids yet. So that wasn't added, you know, I don't know if you have kids or not.
I do not. I've chosen to.
So yeah, I mean, if you're listening and you got kids, you know that it magnifies what's going on in your marriage. It doesn't make things easier. Let's just say that. And so when I got home from deployment, I was probably in the best shape of my life because on deployment, you know, it's kind of like Groundhog's Day. You're very routine. And I got into a really good routine, working out every single day. Yeah, very structured.
Is that how you found CrossFit, or was that after you got back?
No, actually, it wasn't until quite a while after I got back. I think I had heard about it when I got back.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until 2012 when I was like I said, I was close to 300 pounds and I was like out of breath, literally tying my shoes to where I was like, okay, I need to do something here. And so that's when I sought out CrossFit, was at that time. And like I said, end of 2012.
Yeah.
And
you found that like 2 years after I found it, but it's that's why I love geeking out about this, because I get intrigued when I hear these stories. I'm like, okay, when did it happen? What was the timeline?
Yeah.
And to pause on that, what was the breaking point for you? Because I've heard all kinds of answers. It's powerful, and I think it's great for people to hear this. Like, was it the personal feeling of, oh, dude, I'm out of breath, bending over? Was it the family component? Was it were you flashing back to your condition that you were in from military? Like, what was that like? Do you remember like what that spark was, where it's like, man, F this, dude, screw this. We need to do something about this.
Yeah, well, I was, you know, I played college football. I was an athlete my entire life. And so I was mid-30s at the time, and you still had this idea or this picture of yourself being the 20-year-old college football player in the best shape of his life. But the reality was, when I actually looked at a picture of myself, I was like, whoa, I am nowhere close to that.
Yeah.
Right. And then, yeah, I mean, it was, I think the real like clincher for me was literally, and I keep going back to it, was like when I was out of breath trying to tie my shoes. Like that was the moment where it's like, all right, I really need to go do something here. And we had started to have kids, and you know, it was important for me to be an example for my children and to do something about it, because I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, and setting a good example.
Yeah, and then I was kind of the classic. I tried, you know, being an athlete, being competitive, being a competitor, most of my life, or seeing myself that way at least. It took me probably 1 or 2 WODs, workouts at CrossFit, for me to get hooked and like addicted, and went extremely overboard and just showing up every day, and got super into weightlifting, you know, the sport of weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting, and
I love good Ollie, man.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Clean and jerks, snatches all day.
Yeah. That's right.
I literally been building my own little box in my garage out back. So it's,
Yep.
there's at least a pull-up rig set up in the rafters now. There's a squat rack, got some of the big black, horse stall mats out there, the rubber mats.
Oh yeah.
Box jumps. I'm a big kettlebell guy. I've been really getting
Yeah.
into the sport of kettlebell that's done
Yeah.
internationally. It's really awesome. So,
Yeah.
but this is awesome. But I think the biggest takeaway also I want to get out of this for our listeners and for you and I to keep geeking out is that if you want to lead, you have to set by example, right? So, okay, being an author, okay, anybody could write I shouldn't say that, anybody can write a book because I still haven't written my book yet. So I will stop myself right there.
Anyone can write a book. That is true. True statement.
But it doesn't matter. Okay, obviously, the healthier you are, the more energy you have to exert into these activities. That's something I always teach people too. And it's cool, because you found CrossFit and it was like, boom, it was hitting the reset switch. It's like, oh, now you have an excuse to look at your diet, to look at your daily lifestyle, to look at your sleep cycles, because you need to be able to show up the next day, do another WOD again, and it was kicking the crap out of you. And now the cycle has begun. Do you also feel that part of that tug of war was also because you were trying to be a father, a husband, you were trying to build a successful insurance business? Because I think us guys and ladies, we all put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So what do you think about that?
Yes. At the time, I think it was another opportunity for me to, well, number one, I was out of shape. So I needed to do something. It was time for me to change. Like I was ready. Like I was tired of being.
You found your why.
Out of weight, or out of shape, overweight guy. And so that was time. And, but it was also, like I said, things inside my relationship weren't the greatest inside of my marriage. And again, we started to have kids and that didn't help.
No,
It really just magnified everything that was wrong inside of what was going on with us. And so I still didn't know how to address that or become the 5-star daddy and father that I daily choose to try to become today. And so it was another opportunity for me to suppress what was going on inside my home and spend more time in the CrossFit gym, right? Like,
nice.
And it's a good excuse, right? Like, well, I'm at the gym, we're working out, which is a way for me to be in shape, be an example for my kids, and to be around for a long time for them as well. But it was also a way for me to hide from the problems that were going on inside of my home. So
that's a good point. I joked around with my fiance. I love getting transparent on this show. So I've talked about it a couple of times, so she had broken up with me for three months because I was a bachelor, dude, my whole life. Like I'm 40 now. So
yeah.
I was a bachelor throughout the firefighting because I used the job of firefighting as an excuse because, we'd be deployed sometimes, gone for a month at a time, blah, blah, blah. You're only allowed to come back. You get 2 days of rest and recovery, and then we're right back at it again. So we would just, 16-hour days. If you're assigned to a fire, you can go 2 weeks straight before you have to take your 2 days off for health and recovery. And then you're right back at it again. So we would just we would literally average about 2,000 hours in the summer. And that's a normal year for most people. So I just made the excuse, I'm like, hey, I'm just not going to bother trying to bring a girl into this. I don't want the distraction. There was guys in my crew worried if somebody was cheating on them, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, you better work on your self-confidence, bro, because if you're thinking like that, maybe you're with the wrong girl, or maybe you got to realize what's going on inside of you. A whole different podcast there. But to your point, when I moved back here to the East Coast, because that was Arizona, I was in Colorado, and then I finally came back here to Pennsylvania, and I had met her, and I wasn't living in the moment. I wasn't living and allowing myself to have my walls drop down to, I've talked about this before, embracing vulnerability, right? Like, it's okay to become vulnerable, to show that you are approachable. I didn't know any of this, didn't know it. And mind you, before firefighting, I went back to school for marketing, and I dual majored in psychology. So like I've done some of the head work stuff educationally, and I couldn't even self-diagnose myself. It took her like realizing like this dude must still be messed the hell up. So I'm just going to end it because he's not going to change. And it was a wake up call because I've never, I mean, I've been broken up with before, but it was like, whoa, like this one rocked me harder than it's been. And I'm in my 30s. And I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
the hell? I've done all this crazy shit in my life. Like, what the hell is wrong with me? I became
Yeah.
obsessed with it for that 3 months. I did all, you get this, because like we were talking about the library, right? The books, the self and
Yeah.
professional development. So next thing
Yeah.
you know, I took a break from all of that and did all kinds of self work on trying to understand my brain, relationships, love, all this other stuff. I geeked out for that 3 months, and I found out that my head was really far up my butt. So I feel like I'm getting some of that out of you. It's like learning to live in the moment and connect with her. Like you were escaping to the CrossFit gym.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't know it. I didn't realize it, let's say, at the time. This is something that I've come to realize looking back at what was going on, and like, wow, yeah, that's subconsciously, I think that was definitely what was going on. I was using that as a way to ignore, because I didn't know how to deal with it at the time. And there's a lot of like, not taking any responsibility for what was going on, right? Like it's all about her and what she needs to do and how she should change. And that was just it was just a vicious cycle that we were in, because she was thinking and saying the same things. And, it was just never getting better. And we were just kind of in this place, right, where we were roommates and battling, on how to be parents, and just wasn't a healthy environment inside of my marriage for a while, and finally coming to a point where I was like, I don't want this anymore. And, what can I do to get what I want? Just getting clarity on what I want, and then trying to find out ways to make that happen, to get that. So
you put basically, and not to pass over this stuff, but I'm going to, obviously you put the work in, you guys figured this out, you worked on it, and this is all before you started getting on stage and speaking, right? I mean, because I almost feel like if you got on stage speaking, let's be real, let's think about some people out there in the world today that are on stage. If you're out there to inspire, motivate, and change other people's lives, and you got this kind of crap going on at home, I don't think you can do it. And if you can, you're a charlatan. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, let's, I'm not sitting here saying it's all perfect, and it never is, right? But at the same time, yeah, I mean, I hear, especially once you kind of get in this world, you'll hear from people all the time how, there are speakers out there that are one way on stage and then exactly the opposite behind the curtain. And that's not who I want to be. And again, I'm by no means sitting here shouting from the mountaintops that I live this amazing, perfect world, and that my wife and I never have arguments or disagreements or things that we have to work through or whatever that be, right? Which I think people like that.
Like arguments are necessary. It's like
yeah.
I feel like
Absolutely.
Having an argument, you're not in a normal relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Conflict is good, to confront what's going on instead of just pushing it to the side, which was what I did for years.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing through CrossFit. That's what I was doing through my businesses.
Yeah.
And it was not healthy. So yeah, it's very healthy to do that and to have that openness inside of a relationship. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, to your point, I don't want to be up preaching one thing and living in an entire different life. And so that's what we say to our clients, the men and women that work with us all the time, that, hey, we live this. We don't just sit here and talk about it. Like we actually, if we're telling you to do something, it's because we are doing it ourselves. We are living it. We want, be as genuine and real as possible. So, and use my story and my past and the experiences that I've had to help others, because when someone can realize that, wow, what they're going through, they're not alone, that like actually this person that's up on stage that's teaching and training and coaching actually went through the same thing. It's kind of it's nice to know that, right? That I haven't just lived this perfect life and now I'm going to tell you how to do it. Like I've had the struggles, right?
I think that makes you a better speaker because
my business partner, Satema, he was a Super Bowl champion, and actually he sold his Super Bowl ring. Like he was at such a point in his life where bankruptcy and just at the bottom, and to the point where he had to sell his Super Bowl ring. And I, when I first heard that, I was like, oh, like my heart hurt. Like, cause I've been an athlete for a long time and I know what it takes to win a Super Bowl. And I can't imagine the thought of ever having to sell that. Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So there's September right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, for some of the listeners who obviously don't watch this on video, make sure you check him out at NateBaileySpeaks.com. I was doing a lot of sharing from his site, but now I just jumped over to a big part of their brand, and their speaking is ProRev with a V's and Victor live.com. And I'm just doing some sharing on their event coming up in October in Dallas, Texas. But there he is. He's a big, strong man.
He is a big, strong man. Yeah. Yeah. And he's such a good dude too.
Yeah. So you get to share the stage with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just me and him. Yeah. We'll bring clients up on stage to throughout parts, but yeah, it's me and myself and Satema on stage for the 3 days teaching and speaking, inspiring, and it's awesome. It's an awesome 3 days together. So we did our first Pro Rev live in April, and it was great. So yeah, now we're coming to Dallas.
Nice. So where was the first one at?
First one was in Dana Point, or Orange County, California.
Oh, it's a little Cali speaking. Okay.
Yeah, and that's where we run most of our events.
Okay.
So that's kind of our home base. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is a hell of a lineup on here. I mean, again, guys, ProRevLive.com. I'm going to scroll back up here to our man here. By the way, I cannot rock a jacket like that. That is all him.
No, why not?
That thing pops, man. It's just if I'm going to go that poppy, I might have to go like hot pink or something. I might go magenta.
Yeah, well, all right. Hot pink. I can see it. I can see it.
So how long have you been connected with him? How did you get connected to him?
Yeah, so he's really, when I talk about 3 years ago and all the struggles I was going through and realizing that like I didn't want to continue down this path, I invested in myself heavily to change, like to find someone else that had been through, what I have, or they might have a different path that I could take to get to where I want to go faster, to get the marriage and the relationship with my kids that I want ultimately, to be able to do that and not have to sacrifice, my fitness, not have to sacrifice my business and inside of spirituality, my connection with God. And so to really just like some might say is to have it all, or what we say is to be a wealthy man in all areas of life. Like that idea, I was like, is it possible? Because my reality 3 years ago was that it wasn't possible, that not the way I was living. And so, yeah, he was my lead trainer, my lead coach 3 years ago. And so I came through as a student, you would say, and then we stayed connected over the last 3 years, and to the point where I wanted to do what he was doing. And so I started to do that on my own, and we stayed connected. And then about a year and a half ago, he brought me on. And like I said, in February, I think you mentioned it, I took the big leap, sold my insurance agency that I've had I'd been in the insurance business since 2004,
Wow.
and had a nice little business going, and sold it so that I could truly follow my passion and do what I've always kind of felt called to do, just never knowing exactly how that was going to happen or what it was going to look like until the opportunity actually came. And I seized it. I took it. A lot of people may not have done that, but I was like, this is my opportunity. I'm going to take it and run with it. And it's been the best decision I've ever made. So,
well, I love it because, again, not everybody's going to do that, right? Or they're not ready just yet. I've said this on the show many times that we're just all at a different place on the timeline with our self-development, our professional development, where you're at positioning. Like, it's a big leap to just unplug your primary income stream. So I'm guessing there was probably some groundwork you laid and some planning to help that transition. But in the end, there's still going to be a leap no matter what.
Yeah.
That's just trusting in yourself, how far you've come. And if you truly want to leave a legacy, it kind of connects back to what you and I were talking briefly before we started the show today. And you're like, so why did you start your podcast? And talking to you today, I can actually modify my answer a little bit and enhance it, because I said, well, it's a free show. I mean, most podcasts, it's powerful free content. That's why I emphasize on powerful. I don't want some boring show that is just me talking alone. I chose a co-hosting format so I can meet amazing people like yourself, and bring your stories out there. So I'm learning with you. So it's actually a two-way street. I want to get something out of it because I love meeting people. I love networking. I love getting out there. And then I get to share that with the world. And hopefully if they get one positive thing out of each and every single episode, then I'm leaving a legacy behind. And that's what I'm hearing from you today as well, is that stepping into the coaching role or a speaker role, it's about leaving a legacy. You're trying to help other people. Yes, you get paid to do that. It's a paid event, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I'm sorry. What's the definition of an entrepreneur? Somebody who fixes somebody else's problem for money. Okay, that's business. Okay, so if you're a paid speaker, which by the way, that's on my goals list, I've done public speaking too, but I haven't transitioned that far into where you are at. So I love it. I think this is awesome. So.
Yeah, one of the principles that we teach inside of what we do inside of the Prosperity Revolution is dollars follow value. And if you have value to create, shouldn't you get compensated for that?
Yeah.
If the marketplace, it's like we pay for things all the time because there's like the iPhone, like you pay good money so that you can get an iPhone. Because why? Because people want the technology in the iPhone. And so they're willing to give up their hard-earned dollars to get that. We do the same thing when we speak and teach and coach. Like, we are creating value for people, and so we get compensated for that, of course.
And you're taking time out of your lives to give back to others.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you talk about leaving a legacy. Actually, the book that I wrote just a year ago was called Live Your Legacy. I talk about, living your legacy. It's one thing to leave a legacy, but it's another to actually live it. Like, why should we not enjoy the fruits of what we are building and the journey that we are on as we build this legacy to actually live it along the way? And I'm a big believer in, legacy and leaving it, and also really taking on the mindset of actually living it, enjoying the fruits of it along the way as you build this path, not just financially, but of course, across the board, being thankful. So how long did it take you to work on that book? I gotta ask. Yeah, well,
because you just released that. And here it is on Amazon, ladies and gentlemen. Live Your Legacy.
Yeah,
the 90-day lifestyle roadmap.
There it is. Yeah. I'm one of these guys that, like, once I get an idea in my mind, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to ship it, and I will improve upon it and update it and tweak it and edit it and refine it along the way. But I'm not going to wait until it's perfect before I put it out to the marketplace, because there's a good chance it'll never happen that way. So I decided I was going to do this probably in November of 2016. And I believe I had it published or set out to the marketplace in like February. So awesome. Probably 2-3 months.
I'm going to add you to my new, you familiar with Amazon influencer pages?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, wow. So when people go to livefuel.com now, I have an Amazon banner on there. If they click on that, it actually takes them directly to my influencer page. So what that means, so like I don't monetize my show, but as the show continues to grow, I'm like, all right, guys, trust me, I'm spending well over $1,000 a year to run this show, my site, the platform, this other stuff I have going on. So I'm like, listen, if I have loyal fans, like if you go on Amazon, which everybody does, just click on my banner, because then even if you don't buy stuff off of the actual influencer page, that's fine. But at least you can see some of the stuff that I buy, and then but then just start shopping, and I'll get like a tiny penny or whatever comes out of that. And that's how you start getting some extra things. But anyway, you can build your own influencer page, and then, like, for example, so I just added your book into that influencer page. So now it's everything on there. I have all the books that I've either bought or purchased that you can get through Amazon. I make sure I put them on an influencer page. Like, I mean, there's replacements for I'm a huge athlete guy. So, I mean, everything from French presses for my coffee to,
Yeah.
this is a new replacement kit for bike pumps. I mean, I'm a huge cyclist. So here's all the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some fun.
So you're a big cyclist guy?
Oh yeah. I just got
I
back
just
from
biked
Vermont
across America with 6 guys here in April. We did a ride across America, raised like over $300,000 for this
I'm jealous.
company called LifeWater, but it was quite the journey. And,
I am familiar with LifeWater. They're the ones that are doing clean water around the globe, right?
They are, yeah.
Yep.
Our money is particularly going to the district of Bensa in Ethiopia.
Nice.
Schools. But yeah, so yeah, that was I've just recently got back into cycling. I just did a ride this weekend. We were supposed to do 100 miles and ended up being a torrential downpour. So they canceled it like 40 miles in, and we kept going, and we did 64, but we didn't.
Okay.
But yeah, I've enjoyed cycling.
I've been, oh God, you talk about all the coaching roles you've done. I've been 11 years as a USSA ski race coach for kids for ski racing.
Oh, wow.
I've been a CrossFit coach for the past 3 years. Go even earlier, I was a spinning instructor and cycling coach for many years. I was a coach in the corporate world. I mean,
Yeah.
so I have some common ground for you here.
Yeah.
Actually, when people, I just had some new graphics designed for all my brand pages on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and everything else. So actually, it might not be as big on your screen, but when people go to like the Facebook page, so this is the new cover image here. So
Okay.
Spartan Racing. This is me sitting on a very steep grade in Tuckerman Ravine in New Hampshire in the spring. We hiked the hour plus in and backcountry skied that sucker. That was solid ice. This was me competing.
I was gonna say, it looks steep.
Yeah, this was me competing a couple months ago in Philadelphia at a CrossFit competition. And then, here's my road bike on top of Hawk Mountain, which is on the Appalachian Trail here in Pennsylvania. Yeah, so I do 100-mile. That was actually that was a metric century ride. That was probably 65 miles or whatever it is. So
Okay.
yeah, dude, I'm with you, man. Like we just got back from Vermont, my buddy's bachelor party. So we rented a house and 7 guys. I'm actually literally building a trailer video for it right now with all the photos and videos we took. We spent 4 days up there. We covered 70 miles on our mountain bikes. So
That's cool.
Yeah, everything from down. We actually hit one of the downhill ski resorts and raced our mountain bikes down that sucker multiple times. So yeah, I'm not normal.
Yeah. I recently got into ultra running.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm dipping my toes in that.
I'm training for my first try. So
nice.
I've done marathons and half marathons. I've done 100, 200-mile cycling events. I haven't biked across country. You got me on that one. But I can't swim for shit. I mean, it's a joke. It's like my fiance makes fun of me. She thinks it's so hilarious. So
yeah,
we all have our weaknesses and our areas to improve in life and continue. I mean, I've skydived. I've fought fires. I've stayed away from water. Like fire and water, dude. Fire and water.
Yeah.
My logo's got fire in it. I do not have water in my logo for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's well, I did an Ironman in 2008, and that's like the number one thing I think everyone would say to me when they heard I did an Ironman was, I think I could definitely do the bike, and I could definitely do the run, but I don't know about swimming. Like it's almost the number one thing that everybody says. And I'm like, well, I was in the same boat. I just got in the pool and just like figured it out. And I just the more you do it, just like anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you? Yeah. I took a few lessons.
You're a coach, right? Every coach should have a coach, right?
Yes.
So everybody should work with somebody better than you. So I was like, well, if I believe in coaching and I've been a coach and I've always had better coaches than me with business and everything else, like I'm going to go hire a coach. So I've got a guy over here at an aquatic center at Cedar Crest College. It's run by Rodale, who's that big printing company that runs Men's Health and Women's Health and all those publications. And so yeah, they got a great training facility, and I'm in there trying to swim every single week for the past 3 weeks.
Yeah. I love that you say that, because it's so true. I mean, if you're going to be a coach, you definitely should be. You definitely should have coaches yourself. I have a speaking coach right now. His name's Joe Williams. I work with Tony Robbins for 20 years as a senior trainer, and he's my speaking coach, him and his wife. And
Nice.
I have a nutritionist that, helps me with my nutrition. I have a running coach for these ultra marathons that I'm tackling.
Mm-hmm.
I always have some kind of a coach. So I love that, because if you stop learning, it's just kind of like almost being out of integrity as a coach. You should have a coach as well to continue to grow and keep expanding and learning and growing. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess I've gotten so busy with the podcast and doing a few new speaking events in the travel business. Like I don't officially coach CrossFit anymore. Like if my friends who own the boxes around me that I all work out at, they're like, "Hey Scott, can you cover a class?" If I'm local, I'll try to, because I still stay up on everything.
Yeah.
But I actually now purposely on Mondays and Fridays when I'm local, I try and get into my buddy's box, and I go in right before lunch when he's doing his workout, and he's the owner of the gym, and he's way better than me. So he's not officially my coach, but why do you think I'm doing that? He's better than me. I'm going to go work out with that guy.
Right. Yeah.
So speaking of surrounding yourself with people that are better than you. So one of the other sites, ladies and gentlemen, MANWEALTH.com. Look at this thing, man. It's a bunch of big buff dudes. Like, what is this all about? And obviously there's your partner in crime right there. So like, what, I mean, is this, everybody gets a jacket? Is this a jacket club?
Yeah, well, so Satema, and myself, we both played football, and so the Blazer, we have a unique little Blazer ceremony at the end of MANWEALTH immersion. So these are guys that graduated actually back in November. We had 19 guys come through, so it was a big group, and so we do a jacket ceremony, kind of like the Hall of Fame has the Hall of Fame jacket, and so they come into what we call the elite fraternity of wealthy men in MANWEALTH. And they all accept the blazer, the jacket, and
I love that.
Step into the fraternity. Yeah.
Some people get the actually, hold on. Where is it? Oh, here. This is what I got from firefighting. So every hotshot crew gets a personalized belt buckle with a serial number on it. So
it's a belt buckle. Yeah.
That's a belt buckle. Yes, that's a handcrafted belt buckle. It's an out west thing. I don't know, but obviously I do have a belt this goes on. But obviously I don't walk around with a cowboy belt all the time. So but it's funny because I got
it's special, right? I mean, it's it's very special. You earn that thing for sure.
It's like this story, because actually I wanted to scroll down here. I wanted to connect it for you. It's like what you were telling us about Sistema and him having to sell his ring. I mean, dude, that's I can't even fathom that. And I'd be like, and this is not worth what that ring is worth. But to me, this belt buckle means a lot to me, man. That's my time learning what brotherhood was all about, and risking your life with other people, and realizing that whatever you think you know nothing, and it's time to get humble and realize that everybody needs to work together to get out alive. I mean, again, I'm sure you connect on you're foreign military. You've got this way better than I do. So, it's powerful stuff. So, actually, real quick, because we're coming to the end of the show here, I want to make sure that, ladies and gentlemen, they knew that this is just about the dudes, ladies and gentlemen. So the ladies who are going to be listening to this, they also have a brand for the ladies, Shield Maiden.
Shield Maiden.
And you have an event coming up next month.
Yeah, in July 16th, and it's so awesome. We have these women come through, and they're just so powerful, and like we don't hold back, because we push the men and the women physically. There's a lot of lessons to be learned through pushing yourself physically, obviously, as you know. And so we get these women carrying big sandbags around and crawling through the sand, and it's just a powerful experience. Yeah, and they're amazing. So it's a great experience and a great event.
It's like these ladies going through some mindset exercises too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's very unique. We don't just sit and talk to them for 12 hours in a classroom. They're moving. We're moving the environments constantly and keep shifting. And
I figured you were tapping into some other stuff, because if you, again, ladies and gentlemen, you go to manwealth.com or the Shield Maiden site, doesn't matter. But if you scroll through here, where was it? Was it this site? One of your sites, you had some SEAL Fit training stuff as well. So
that was probably that might be on my site where I have I went through SEAL Fit Kokoro, which is a 52-hour. It's modeled after Hell Week.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I'm familiar with SEAL Fit.
Yeah. So I went through Kokoro. I went through class 45.
There it is.
There it is. And yep, I'm right in the middle there.
Yep.
And so this video there was 28 of us that started this class and 9 of us that actually finished. So, and unfortunately, like, crazy story, one of the guys, actually the one on the very end, Giannis, he died.
Are you serious?
Literally seconds after we finished.
Wow.
He fell to the
How?
ground, and there was there's active and retired Navy SEALs that are running this.
Yeah.
And, they were working on him, trying to bring him back, and just so crazy.
Wow.
32. It was his wedding anniversary that day, and 2 little kids, age 3 and 1, and he just, his heart. I don't know exactly what happened, but I think his heart quit, basically. And
well, if his heart quit, I'm gonna tell you right now, I lost a friend at 32, and like, literally, they were doing a photo shoot to announce their pregnancy. His wife was pregnant with their first child, and he dropped in the backyard during the photo shoot.
Oh, wow.
And they couldn't revive him.
Yeah.
And now they did know that he actually had a heart defect, and he had been treated for that, and they thought it was fine. And they don't know what happened. Was it the powerful experience of now knowing that he's going to be a dad, and it just caught up to him? We don't know. In this situation, SEAL Fit's no joke. Dude, are you familiar with Go Ruck?
Yeah, I'm training for selection.
I've done the Go Ruck. So it's.
Have you heard of selection?
No. What's that?
Okay. Well, Go Ruck Selection is they do it once a year. It's similar. I guess it's kind of similar to Kokoro. It's a 48-hour plus event.
Okay.
And but I'm training for that in September. I actually went last year and I did not make it. And that's a whole nother podcast episode, actually. But
we can totally do another one down the road here. So this is cool stuff. I knew there was some more layers to you, man. I was like, my fiance once in a while, she's like, every once in a while you start bromancing with some of these dudes. I'm like, hey, if we got some connections, I can't help it,
Right.
I my own father, he's just like, I don't understand how you go and do some of these things. I was like, I get bored, and I'm an adrenaline junkie. I can't help it.
Why not, right? I mean, and
the powerful lessons you get out of it, dude. Like, doing that Go Ruck, I hadn't done anything that hard since firefighting.
Yeah, I believe
firefighting. I had a 40-pound pack, 25-pound chainsaw, 16 hours a day up and down the mountain. Doing the Go Ruck, man, I dug deep. And that was a 21, 22-hour night, all through the night.
It's not easy. Yeah, they don't take it easy on you, especially on those longer ones. Like, hardcore.
But then when it's all done, all of a sudden they're all nice to you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Buddy. I was like, where's all the smiles and laughter coming from?
Yeah, it's a game. It's definitely a game for them, and as long as you can remember that,
I can't tell you multiple times that night. Two different girls and 2 different guys, they wanted to quit, and we didn't let them. Yeah. Everybody made it through. Everybody made it through. So
that's great.
We're gonna have to have another show.
Yeah, for sure. I love it.
Especially with you getting ready to launch your show, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. Yeah. He's gonna be launching a new podcast show. You already have a brand for it?
Championship Leadership. That's what it's going to be.
Say that again.
I'm going to talk leadership, which I'm sure we could talk all day on that too. So
there we go. I love it. That's going to be awesome. Well, listen, we do have to bring this show to a close because I got to get ready for another one. But invite is open. Let's get you scheduled for another show, and you can pick the topic, man, because it sounds like I think you and I will have no problem talking about stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to.
But to close this show out, one thing I've been doing since I found this show is I want the co-host to have those final inspirational words, and I like to put people on the spot. They didn't bother knowing that. So everything I mean, is there anything just right now at the top of your head that's kind of all-encompassing? So if they forget everything else, we talked about tonight, again, ladies and gentlemen, NateBaileySpeaks.com is his primary site. You can also go to ProRevLive.com. You can go to ManWealth.com. And you can go to, obviously, the Shield Maiden is another brand. I'll have all this stuff linked on the website, so don't worry about it.
Thank you.
But is there going to be an all-encompassing message you'd like to leave behind for the audience today?
Wow, yeah, you are putting me on the spot here, but let's see.
You're a speaker, brother.
You touched on it earlier, right? I live by a simple mantra, if you will, of live what you teach. And in order to truly have the life that you want, to get what you want inside of your life, it's just all about really taking small, simple steps every single day, just hitting singles, not trying to hit it out of the park. And so I just say to keep swinging singles every single day, show up with intention, be clear on what it is that you want. And if it's truly something that you want in your life that you don't currently have right now, make sure that you're clear on why it matters, so that you will actually go out and do it on the days that you don't feel like it. Because there are going to be those days when you will not want to get out and train. You won't want to send a message to your wife because you had an argument with her the night before, or you'll want to yell at your kids when it's not really what you want because they're frustrating you and they're being kids. So just remember what you want, why it matters, and just go out and do the work every single day and just take small steps, keep hitting singles. And that's what I found has worked best for me, and continue to do hard stuff. Just continue. That's why I do all these challenging things, is because I'm always learning, always growing, always trying to get a little bit better. So yeah, that's what I'm all about. And that's what I'll leave with you with today.
I love that message, man. Well, hang tight. I'll give you probably by off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't sum it up better. You hear me all the time saying you got to put in the reps. Well, he just said, you got to swing the singles, man. Just keep swinging for the singles. Stop trying to go for the home run. It's going to come. So thanks for tuning into another powerful Live the Fuel podcast show. Again, make sure you check out manwealth.com. If you ladies are out there, make sure you follow the Shield Maiden feed. But you can also go to prorevlive.com, and then obviously Nate's core site, natebailey.speaks.com. Again, all this stuff will be on the website article for this show. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, you too can live the fuel. Talk to you guys again soon. And you're free of the pod. I just leave the video recording for extra fun for the our lovely YouTube watchers out there. So thanks, man.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I had a great time. So yeah, I would, if you're serious, I'd love to come back on. It was fun.
We definitely can, man. There's not many people I bring on that actually can connect at so many different domains.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the weirdo. So I've just grown to accept it. It's just like, well, yeah. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah. People are like, oh,
that's hilarious.
What Spartan race or what thing did you do today? And I'm like, well, I'm taking a week off. I mean,
yeah, right.
I was like, I don't have kids like you. Like my fiance and I chose to be just no bueno. We're going to be the cool aunt and uncle and living life awesome. To the fullest. So
good for you.
Another reason why I'm doing all of this, to grow that independence, so I too will have even more freedom to get back through speaking, writing a book, etc. So also, guys, I have less excuses then, so I have to.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Well, this has been awesome, man. And then yes, at any point in time when you're ready to kind of reschedule and get back in, because I mean, even if you do it early, I'll just work you into the rotation, because I always I'm scheduled out about. My shows are going out about two weeks out, sometimes 3 weeks out. So you'll be going out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I always send an email so you get, hey, your show's live, and then you'll be able to share it as you see fit.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
And then, but yeah, I mean, my schedule. Did you schedule yourself, or did she schedule you?
I think she did, but I can, if I can get
you just go to livethefuel.com, and there's a schedule link there. And since you've already been on the show, you click on. I think it still says pre-approved podcast recording, because obviously you don't use the intro option because I already know who you are. And when you fill out the form, there's a lot of the options on there. I actually allow you to bypass them now because for repeat co-hosts, because I've actually this year bringing in some of the best people from the past year and a half. I'm like, all right, let's get them in and come back in for updates in 2018. So it's really easy to do a repeat co-host thing.
Okay.
All right, man.
I love it. Thanks, Scott.
Well, you enjoy the day. It's great connecting, and I look forward to catching up with you soon. And definitely let me know when you need help to get episodes for the new show, man. I love supporting other podcasts.
I will, for sure. I'm getting ready to start recording podcasts now, and then we'll get 4 or 5 in the bank and then ship it out. So,
and actually use the same process. Like if you're But you could just go ahead and use that's my online scheduler. So if you say, hey, Scott, if you don't have one of those set up yet, and like, hey, Scott, I'd like you to come on the show. That's how you can set my schedule. I don't know my schedule half the time. I'm like, guys, just go to the site, pick a slot, and just put a note in there that I'm coming on your show.
Okay. I love it. I will.
All right, brother.
You got it, man. Thank you. Have a great night. Talk to you later.